cracking, everybody, and welcome back to Planet Boo for a movie review. Non spoiler, y'all. Non spoiler review of Mortal Kombat. It's your boy Boo, and I'm ready to get back into some action I don't know about. You! Where do we start? This isn't even gonna be long. This is a non-spoiler, so I can't even get into the details. And I don't even know if I want to get into the details. Straight up, my opinion. I thought this movie was straight up garbage. Straight up trash. Straight up trash. And I went into the movie expecting a lot of cheese. It's Mortal Kombat. You know, I can go into a Mortal Kombat movie expecting some cheesy acting, expecting a couple things not to make sense. I understand that there are a lot of characters that they have to introduce within a short amount of time, so there's going to be a lot of bad cuts and just things explained very quickly through dialogue. Well, explained very vaguely through dialogue, and things that just didn't make sense, and things that they just made happen with magic for the sake of storyline progression and character progression without really giving it any thought. And I expected that, and it had a whole bunch of that. A whole bunch of that. But even me expecting that and being like, you know what, okay, whatever, I could deal with some of that. Just make the fighting amazing. Make some good moments that we will remember. Do these characters justice. Do the fight choreography justice. And they didn't do any of that. They didn't do any of that. This movie was boring. How is a Mortal Kombat movie boring? This movie, I was trying not to fall asleep. Trying not to fall asleep. Boring. From the beginning to the end. Boring. Snooze fest. All right. The fight choreography. Now, before the movie came, somebody involved with the movie, I don't know if it was the director, who they're like, this is going to be some of the best fight choreography and fight scenes you've ever seen. What? Bro, I was not impressed. I was not impressed. Even I was like, okay, you know what? I grew up watching a lot of Chinese film, where these martial arts films that are Asian films, Asian directors, Asian films, foreign films to the United States, foreign films. I watch all of those. I grew up watching them. I watch the current ones. They can capture good fight choreography. Like, that's a next level fighting and martial arts. So I wasn't even expecting it to be that good, and it wasn't. But even from an American film, comparing it to other American films that have had fight sequences, I don't even think it's cream of the crop for American films. To be honest, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. I was not impressed with the fighting. The the blood and gore was not as much as I thought it would be, to be quite honest with you. Not as much as I thought it would be, the blood and gore. The fatalities were not good, were not impressive. The movie honestly was not as brutal as I was expecting. The plot was hot garbage. The original Mortal Kombat movie was, I was about to say something, is way better than this one. The original, as much cheese as the original Mortal Kombat movie had, it was way better than this one. Way better. The characters, in my opinion, were even more interesting. Even that in this movie, they gave Scorpion, in the original, Scorpion and Sub-Zero were just minions. Most of the characters didn't have any character depth to them. in the original, and I can admit that it's a '90s movie, whatever. Even with the attempt to give the Scorpion and Sub Zero the story, the depth, the character depth, it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. In fact, the frustrating part is that even though that they gave you that Scorpion and Sub Zero backstory, to be honest, what they should have did a prequel to this movie. To be honest, because you could make a whole movie about Scorpion. His story is that deep and that engaging. Scorpion and Sub Zero, and how they interact and how they're tied together. You could have done a whole movie introducing them and their story, and and do the whole story about Scorpion's trials through hell and trying to make it out of hell and getting back on Earth for revenge. You could have done a whole movie on that. That's what they should have did. That's what they should have did. They should have did that. And then start the Mortal Kombat. Then introduce these characters, give them more depth. Because everything was meaningless. All these fight scenes, I thought they were completely meaningless. They held no weight, in my opinion. And they tried to force it. The movie tried to force these rivalries between these characters that just met. With the exception of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they tried to force these rivalries that just carried no weight to them whatsoever. Zero weight whatsoever. And it didn't work. And it didn't work. And then the whole thing about Mortal Kombat, right, is it's and I can't spoil. I'm trying not to spoil anything. It's supposed to be a tournament. Well, you really didn't have any official tournament in this movie, and then that's all I'm gonna say. It was not like the first one, and you really didn't get that. You really you really didn't, boy. So I don't know if they are trying to set up for the sequel. Well, they do try to set up for a sequel, but it's just so poorly executed. So poorly executed. So poorly executed. Like I said, they should have did a whole Scorpion slash Sub Zero movie. Whole Scorpion slash, and then do that for, I don't know, make it a 2 hour movie. You could flesh them out, and it would have so much more meaning. And then even with Liu Kang is a very important character, and he really didn't have a whole lot to him. He really didn't. He did not have a whole lot to him, and in fact, he was kind of a chump, in my opinion. He was kind of a chump, in my opinion. To be honest with you, to be honest, uh, Jax, the whole thing with, oh man, the Jax thing is bad. And the crazy thing is, I was calling things out before they happened. Like, I kind of saw the direction things were going, and I'm like, yeah, they're probably going to do this and not explain this at all. And they're going to do this, and it's just going to be like some voodoo magic, and then boom, these things appear with no explanation. Characters in the movie. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get into the teleporting thing, because maybe Shang Tsung could just teleport. Obviously Raiden could just teleport people wherever they need to go. But in the beginning of the movie, for example, there's a particular character that is chasing down the protagonists in the movie, searching them out. There is no explanation of how this character is just finding them, just conveniently finding everybody he needs to find. There's no way to pinpoint these people where they are in the entire world to locate them, and it's not explained how he's even able to track them and just pop up on site exactly where he needs to be. No explanation whatsoever. And it's just like, what? What is going? But even with that, Even as that was happening, I was like, all right, whatever. You know what? I'm gonna look past that. Just show me some cool fight scenes. Show me these important characters in Mortal Kombat history. And no, I don't think anybody was given justice. I don't think anybody, none of the characters were given justice, and the fighting wasn't nearly as good enough to make up for the hot garbage and that the movie was. The cutting, the edits, the cuts, horrible, 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 horrible. I will never watch this movie again. I can promise you that. I will never watch this movie again, and I will be reluctant to even watch the sequel if it even gets a sequel. And let me tell you, it's that bad. Because, like I said, I was going in willing to accept some hot garbage because it is Mortal Kombat. But this level of hot garbage is not acceptable, in my opinion. Even to the point, man, it's not acceptable in my opinion. Nope, I can't. I can't. The fighting, the fatalities, the choreography, everything else did not deliver to make me look past the horrible plot, a lot of horrible acting, the the bad, all the bad. I can't even. There's so much bad stuff, and it's just so boring. It's just so boring, and the movie moves along so quickly. Like all these characters just popping up, and we all know Mortal Kombat has a lot of characters, and a lot of characters that they need to introduce, and people were just popping up on site, no explanation, and for the things that they did give explanation, it was done very quickly through dialogue, just like, oh, I'm here and this is happening and you need to come with me, and they're like, okay. For the most part, for the most part, and a lot of things were extremely predictable. Like you saw things happening well before they happened. It was hot garbage, man. And it pains me to say that because I love Mortal Kombat. And listen, I haven't really played any Mortal Kombat games since Mortal Kombat 3. All right, so there were one or two honestly, there's only one or two characters that I didn't recognize or didn't know about, and I was expecting it to be a lot more characters that I didn't recognize or know about. And I think one character is actually new, was created specifically for the movie. I think. Don't quote me on that. I think. But with that being said, that was some that was bad, folks. That was bad. And, and that's my opinion, but I would have to imagine the general opinion would be like this is not a good movie, and they did not deliver. Everything in the trailer, everything that I only watched the first trailer, but everything in that first trailer was the best parts about about the movie. Like, don't expect anything more than what you saw in that trailer. Don't expect anything more than what you saw in that trailer. And Kano gets more shine than anybody in the movie. Believe it or not, if you're expecting Liu Kang to be shining, if you're expecting uh, Sonya to be shining, Kung Lao to be shining, Raiden to be shining, Shang Tsung to be shining. No, it's really Kano who gets a lot of screen time, the most dialogue, and clearly a lot of focus in this movie, with probably Sub Zero coming right after him. To be honest, and you can make an argument, oh, Sub Zero over Kano, but whatever. Those two are clearly the most involved characters in this movie. Kano, think about that. Kano. And don't get me wrong, at time Kano was entertaining with just all the shit talking. He was just talking smack the entire movie. He was just there for profanity and shit talking. He was there for profanity and talking. That is all he did, and get his ass kicked the whole movie. And at times it was slightly entertaining with some of the things he was saying. At times it was slightly entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, slightly. But overall, this movie is a snooze fest, a snore fest. I I will never watch it again. It does not stand up to the original Mortal Kombat movie, even with all the cheese that movie had. It did not deliver. It did not deliver, at all, at all. But that's my non spoiler review, and that's all I gotta say. Um, I didn't even write notes down for this movie. I was gonna write notes while I was watching it, and then it was just getting so bad, and I was just like, I don't even think this is worth taking notes. It's not. It's just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing, and I would have caught a cramp in my hand trying to write notes. Bad thing after bad thing after trash after trash after trash, man. But hey, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Non spoiler, probably put up a spoiler review later. Be on the lookout. As always, if you're enjoying that content and having a great time here on Planet Boo, feel free to hit that like button, drop a comment, please subscribe, and we now have channel memberships. Come and be a believer. But definitely, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the movie, if you've seen it, if you liked it, if you agree, and if you disagree. That's fine. I love to hear different opinions on movies. All right? Signing out from Planet Boo. I'm out.